The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
Hey everybody, you are listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is October 25th, 2019. This is episode 161, and this week, never go full cyborg. My name's Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about other news with Canary Cry views.
That's right. Gonz, it's been a tough couple of weeks, buddy.
It's been really rough this week, especially.
A rough couple of weeks. You did a great job covering the show last week. And as many know, a couple of weeks ago was the Hear the Watchman conference. So that was great and fun, but kind of got in the way of some recording. Which, by the way, we're going to have an episode on that coming out on the Canary Cry radio feed.
Yes,
correct?
yes, we will eventually. That'll happen as long as I get all the gear straightened up and fixed and all that, which has been the big problem this week. Which, the conference was a lot of fun. We'll talk about it maybe in another. Another part.
We'll
of
have a lot
episodes.
of chances to talk about it. So we're going to do that. Now, Gonz, last week you went ahead and threw both of our hats over the fence. So we're going to be doing an hour episode this week, huh?
Yeah. I promised an hour. And so we're going to do the hour, this episode, but we may not be able to get to an extended report because Basil's not really working his normal rig over there, because as soon as we were about to hit record.
Oh my gosh. No, the list, I want to go through the whole list of obstacles we've had over the past few weeks here. So first of all was the conference.
The conference was great fun. It was fun, but it definitely broke our rhythm of things.
Yeah,
of life.
And then I was traveling through space and time here the week after that. So that's the one where you sort of covered. On top of that, I recently moved, so my entire studio kind of got ripped apart and put back together, and I do not have. First of all, that's a big pain in itself.
It is. That's a huge process.
Just the amount of cords and things and remembering where everything goes. I did not take the time or the energy to mark the chords or
you don't need to do that.
Some sort of system.
You know what works just fine is pictures.
Yes. Well, that would have been great too. Pictures would have been great. Anything would have been great. The move was it was very fast and it was very sort of hectic. And so I didn't take pictures, didn't create some sort of system for putting back the studio back together. And so it was, I just opened up the boxes that had all my stuff in it. And I was like, oh no, I have no idea where anything goes. So that was a whole thing. As some trained audio professional ears may be able to tell, I don't even have sound baffling up in the new studio yet. So I've got a slight room echo that kind of bugs me.
And what the audience is getting right now is a Skype version of you, not the clean version that they might be used to because of the fact that right as we were about to hit record,
literally the millisecond that we were going to start the show, Audition or my Adobe account decided to totally freak out. And I'm having like a full session of uninstalls and reinstalls. And I'm not looking forward to it. I'm going to have to make some customer service calls after this. So that's a whole disaster. So yes.
Yeah, that's the here and now. But leading up to the here and now, the reason why the failure on your side was so just appropriate, hilarious and appropriate for this week is because this entire week has been like the Armageddon of my gear. My mixer blew up. It literally just fried.
Full apocalyptic gear failure over on Gonz's side.
Just an unbelievable. I mean, it happens every once in a while, but this is probably the biggest one that's ever happened where my mixer actually failed. And I thought, okay, maybe the plug-in got mixed up or power supply is broken. Nope, the mixer itself is dead.
Totally
no power. Yeah, no power at all. And so that was an issue. And then the Catalina update on what is it? The Mac that I use here totally broke everything. And so, are you still there? I lost Basil. Just to add insult to injury. Hey, you're back. To add insult to injury. I was telling.
My Skype was crashing.
As I was explaining, the new Catalina upgrade totally broke Pro Tools, which there's a new Pro Tools thing I had to upgrade to anyway, but it's not compatible with Catalina. So after 19 years of using Pro Tools, I am out of luck right now. So I had to relearn or learn Audition, or at least enough to get stuff going. So I'm using a whole different digital audio workstation to do this episode. And I mean, that's, So that plus the soundboard, the soundboard that we've been using has also crashed because of the upgrade. So I had to get a new one, which actually, this is a good thing for the listeners because this is some positive out of all of this, is that up until this point, for those audiophiles out there, a lot of the sound effects and everything, the jingles, were played in mono. But now, because of the way I reset and reconfigured everything, a lot of it is in stereo. So you'll get the full sonic effect of some of the jingles and whatnot. So that's a little positive out of all of it. But issues, especially as I thought I heard you drop, but then I wasn't sure. And then
I did. And while we're explaining all these problems, my Skype completely crashes.
It's just an unbelievable amount of stuff. So thank you guys for
Of course, it's on the day we decide to do an hour-long episode. So, that's the things that we're dealing with around here. It's been an exciting week for trying to get the show out.
The whole time I'm thinking to myself, because of the fact that we report on technology and the advancements and all these great things, and I'm thinking, is this what you want to merge with? Transhumanists?
Yeah.
Software failure, hardware failure. I mean, come on.
Maybe this whole thing's been a psyop to get us to submit to the technocratic overlords.
I wouldn't be surprised.
If they can fix our recording problems, maybe they think we'll bow down.
Yeah. Who knows?
Okay. What do you think? Should we get to the show?
Let's do it. We're going to start with Flippy update here.
Here we go.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. For those who don't know, because every show is somebody's first show, Flippy is the beloved name that we have for disembodied robot arms that are taking all of our jobs, but treating us oh so well. Speaking of tech failures, this whole link is broken, so I just had to reload it. Here we go. I want to say thank you to Charlie from the Facebook community, the Canary Cry community, because he actually posted this, and it was exactly what I was looking for. Now, it's not technically a Flippy because there are no arms involved.
Fake news.
Here we go. I know this is from awesomeinventions.com. So, of course, the whole thing is an advertisement, but here we go. Meet Beetle, the autonomous robot that hunts down dog poop and picks it up for you. Yay! Having dogs as companions is pure bliss. Yeah, right. But frustration kicks in when it's time to pick up their poop from your yard. Dog owners can now rejoice because the Beetle, an autonomous dog poop robot, is here to make their lives easier. There are currently about 85 million households in the U.S. with dogs, so you can just imagine how many people could benefit from this useful innovation. This autonomous dog poop robot looks like a robotic lawnmower that moves around the yard like a Roomba. But instead of cutting grass, the Beetle robot finds and automatically scoops up dog poop throughout your yard. And yada, yada, yada. There's AI involved. There's computer imaging involved, all sorts of fancy technology. The genius invention is indeed a must-have for all dog owners. Unfortunately, the autonomous dog poop robot is still a concept, and there are no definite timetables for its release. So this is a big tease to you dog owners out there. The 5-member design team behind the Beetle is also looking to add a sickle bar grass shear mechanism that can cut long grasses. Okay. All right. So picking up the poop is not enough for these folks. They also want it to be a lawnmower. All right. So there you go. For all you pooper scooper business owners out there, of which they exist, I'm sorry, the robots are coming for your jobs too there.
Well, they need somebody to deploy the robots.
There is. Oh, that's true. Yeah. If you're a pooper scooper
show up
company,
with your
small business owner, no longer do you have to do the scooping yourself. You can just show up with your van, your poopy scoopy 911 van, and just deploy a beetle robot in the backyard of somebody. And
there you go.
Yeah, maybe it is making life easier for humans.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's awesome story. It would have been nice to have one of these, when I had dogs.
When you had dogs. You have no dogs now?
No dogs.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I knew that. Sorry to bring it up again.
It's okay. It's okay because this is the part of the dog owning part is, what am I saying? This is the part of dog owning that sucks, is the picking up poo. So, of course, making a robot for that would have been nice.
Just a little technology update. Audition has reinstalled on my computer and has opened automatically. So I'm eagerly anticipating my entire computer to explode in front of me. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to let it sit there and mock me.
All right.
All right. You ready for our first?
Oops, sorry. I'm still getting used to the soundboard. Apparently, if I click on it, it plays. So
wait for your cue, Gonzo.
All right.
Are you ready for our first story?
Yep.
I'm for the robots.
There it is. This is from dailystar.co.uk. So, the most legitimate news source in the world. Robot judges will pass sentence with no human bias in AI courts. We've been following the development of artificial intelligence and its sort of assimilation into the ruling elite of our world. And now we're talking about judges. We actually mentioned this maybe years ago when this concept was first brought up. But let's visit this article here. dailystar.co.uk. It's likely that most people locked in our jails believe that with a better lawyer, a more lenient judge, or a more understanding jury, things might have been very different for them. Human error, they will say, is to blame for them being banged up. Oh, that must be a British term.
To be in prison?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Human error. Oh, nope. I already read that part. But can the human element be removed? Law firms are already using computer algorithms to perform background research, other tasks traditionally performed by human staff. And that's just the beginning. As computer researchers get closer to creating true artificial intelligence, it's predicted to eliminate most paralegal and legal research positions within the next decade. Ooh, watch out, paralegals. The next step inevitably involves artificial intelligence's aiding or even completely replacing lawyers. And if we have robot lawyers, why not automated judges and juries too? Why not a fully solid state legal system? Lawyer Tom Girardi, who was one of the real-life inspirations for the movie Aaron Brockovich, told Forbes, quote, "It may even be considered legal malpractice not to use AI one day. It would be analogous to a lawyer in the late 20th century still doing everything by hand when this person could use a computer." Writer Rosalind Warren points out that people are, by their nature, flawed. Flesh and blood jurors and judges will always bring their own prejudices to the courtroom. But a robot juror, she says, could be crammed with a far broader range of facts and figures about the nature of crime, cases on record, and the law, making it much more worthwhile than a juror who has little awareness on such matters. Gons, I've never had jury duty, and I feel like the robots are going to take that opportunity from me. I've always thought jury duty would be fun, I'm young and ignorant, but I always thought that would be fun. But it looks like I may not be able to do it.
I'm sure you're not missing a whole lot there.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I feel like never mind. She goes on. Expecting randomly selected members of the public to decide the fate of a person in a jury system is outdated because the notion of a fair and impartial jury doesn't exist. Even cross examinations could be outsourced to an automated system. A thought-provoking experiment shows that people are more likely to be completely honest with an unemotional machine than a potential judgmental human. When researchers led by Jonathan Gratch at the Institute for Creative Technologies created an artificially intelligent robot psychologist named Ellie. They tested it on 2 groups of people. Half were told Ellie was just, wow, this is just getting into a whole nother situation. But long story short, they did experiments about people being more honest with robots. Quote, if a lawyer can use AI to win a case and do it for less than someone without AI, says Tom Girardi, who do you think the client will choose to work with next time? Yada, yada, yada. Wow. This is
really pushing the robot judge.
Really pushing the robot judge. And it's all based on this unbiasedness of robots. But you know what you also don't get with robots? Compassion,
love,
and human understanding,
mercy.
Yeah. Luckily, I've never been sort of at the mercy of a jury before, but I mean, it's written. I mean, I believe it's in the Constitution or some sort of official document like that it's all about being judged by a jury of your peers.
Yeah.
And artificial intelligence at this moment in history is not a group of my peers. And so I don't know how much I think about it. I don't like it.
This is probably why they want to make robots into people and all that stuff. Bang up in British is prison slang to lock up a prisoner in his or her cell, especially for the night. It's so interesting because in contrast, in American, bang up is one of 2 things, either to do physical damage and harm or very good, excellent. You did a bang up job, Basil.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The article goes on, but a solid state legal system with no humans involved isn't necessarily more error proof than our existing system.
Well, then what's the point?
Former Prime Minister Theresa May, in an address last year to the Davos Forum, pointed out that we need to develop a set of laws governing artificial intelligence so we can, quote, make the most of AI in a responsible way.
We need to make sure we could judge the things that can't be biased when judging.
Such as by ensuring that algorithms don't perpetuate the human biases of their developers. And that's one of the biggest problems that AI people are working through. After all, as Miss Warren points out, AI, computers, and legal robots are made by humans. Technology, like humans, can make mistakes and hold the same discriminatory factors. For example, she goes on, people of color are more likely to trigger a false positive. Of course, we got to end on a racial thing here. Trigger a false positive match than white people on facial recognition software, which means they are more likely to be subjected to a wrongful police stop and search. I guess nothing really changes there. So, a place where AI keeps the status quo, unfortunately. And the real danger there is that a machine's bias is less likely to be questioned by humans.
That's true. That's true. The robot said it. The robot can't make mistakes because math.
Yeah, right. And that's the biggest problem here is, if you have the biases baked into the AI, people are no longer going to see them as biases. They will see them as algorithmically correct judgments on the world around them. So there you go. I mean, some AI. What I found interesting about this, and is kind of the update from the last time we brought this up, was that legal firms are already using AI to compile information, background information, legal information, all sorts of stuff on clients, and using that. It's in the legal system. Yeah.
So it's the West version of the credit score system that China's doing, but it's kind of coming through the law system. In the hands of lawyers, that doesn't make me comfortable.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then because it is curating all that information and helping them organize it with the AI. But what's the point of handing over the final decision making away from humans to the AI itself? That's pretty frightening in itself, especially if lawyers are the ones that are really shaping the way this thing turns out,
Totally.
And how you input the data is going to really determine the outcome. How things are worded when certain things are explained. Like I could say, I put a firm hand on Basil's face there, and you could say he slapped me real good, and there'll be two different things.
Yeah, it's the issues with nuance and language that would cause much harsher readings,
right,
or maybe much more lenient readings of language in an artificial intelligence system, rather than a human being who's able to catch the subtleties of language. And when the details of a crime are being recorded by human beings, such as in police reports, eyewitnesses, stuff like that, translating all that information with the subtleties and nuances of language and human, emotion and dictation, that makes for a difficult process for an algorithm to fully get the truth out of.
A lot more nuance. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. I'm realizing now another issue with our on top of all of our technical and emotional issues we're having this morning. On top of everything, I'm a little sick. People can probably hear that.
Starting to come through a little bit more, yeah.
But because I'm not recording on my side, I have no idea what the timing is, which means you're in charge of keeping time for this episode, which means we're all doomed.
Time is a square circle.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on because I think we're close to 20 minutes in. I think.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Let's keep moving.
Okay.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
CNBC.com. Vatican launches $110 smart rosary bracelet that tracks your prayers.
What?
The Vatican has launched $110 e-rosary in a bid to encourage tech-savvy Catholics to pray. Launched Tuesday, the wearable smart device links to an app designed to teach users how to pray with rosary beads. The e-rosary, available on Amazon as well as the Vatican's own website, can be worn as a bracelet and is activated by making the sign of the cross.
What? What?
The rosaries are crafted together using 10 beads and a metal cross that detects movement and stores data. Traditionally, beads on the rosary represent different Catholic prayers. Users can synchronize the e-rosary to the app, which features an audio guide, images, and personalized content. The app is free to download and shares the e-rosary name. Once the device is activated, users are given several prayer options, with the app keeping track of which prayers have been completed.
Oh my gosh. I want to read the user license agreement.
Yeah, seriously. This is like sold by the Vatican too.
Oh,
content can be accessed in English, Italian, or Spanish.
And also by the Illuminati.
The Vatican launched the device under the Pope's Worldwide Prayer Network, WPN, and its Click to Pray scheme, a digital network that connects people around the world for prayer. Quote, this project brings together the best of the church's spiritual traditions and the latest advances of the technological world, the WPN said in a press release on Tuesday.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
So this is for instance, this is an item you wear on your forearm. Is it a bracelet?
Yep, it's a bracelet. Yep. It goes on your wrist.
And tracking, not just, I'm sure your steps like Fitbit, your location like Apple Watch.
I could picture, here's what I pictured.
Now your spiritual life by tracking your prayers.
This is what I picture. Okay. The Amazon Alexa or like the Google Home people, they get the Pope in the room, right? And they're like, hey, look, we have this technology. We're recording all these people praying and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Listen, we can help you monetize this. And also you can track how good your people are being.
Oh my gosh. I mean, this is funny, but it's also
it's terrifying.
It's the merging of everything we've been talking about for years. I mean, you got the technology, you got the tracking, you got the lack of privacy, and now you've got the now you've got the Pope involved.
Pope, like sitting behind a giant wall of data.
Oh my gosh. This is the closest thing. Here's the thing. We are not in the business of necessarily identifying exactly what the mark of the beast is, but this is pretty close. Pretty close.
Pretty close in terms of the worship part of it, especially coming through the Catholic Church there. And how does that look? I don't know, man. Quantizing prayers and digitizing your prayers is
turning your prayers into big data.
Yeah. And the fact, the blasphemous part to me in general, I mean, the whole thing, but the cross on your wrist is like a sensor recording all your movements and everything you say.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
just the poetry of that is incredible. Oh no.
Yeah. So there you go.
Wow. There we go.
Just don't buy one.
There's so much to say about that, but I feel like it would just be summing up and repeating everything we've been saying for almost 8 years now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm speechless.
You are speechless.
I'm literally speechless.
We'll let the Philip K. Dick robot speak on our behalf or on their behalf. I don't know whose behalf.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
That's not a good sign. Wow. They want to control us.
We do. We should get a hold of that EULA, that user license agreement. We got to read that. Because, they're going to have a section on how we use your data.
How we use your data. Vatican.
I want to know how they're using this prayer data. Because why would you care about tracking it?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I mean, if it helps you, I prayed about, I don't know. Can't you just keep a journal?
I forget. When was the last time I prayed? Yeah, let me log into e-rosary. We have got to figure that out. Somebody out there, if you're able to get a hold of the e-rosary EULA agreement, send it over. canarycryradio@gmail.com.
People can have little competitions now. Who's going to pray more this week, huh? Who's going to really step up the prayer? Let's look at the charts.
It's gamifying your spiritual life.
Yep. Bingo. There it is.
I wonder if there's rewards, if you get reward points or something.
Pope shows up on your cross. Good job today.
If you get enough rewards points on your e-rosary account, then you can, I don't know what you'd win. Extra wafers, maybe?
I don't know.
Oh, man. Lord, I apologize.
Yeah.
All right.
Does it get any better? Stories?
Yeah, we do. We got all sorts of stories. Yeah, let me tell you about the namesake of this episode, scientist with motor neuron disease turning himself into full cyborg.
Are you ready to become cyborg?
That's right. A scientist who is diagnosed with terminal motor neuron disease hopes to transform into the world's first true cyborg.
Cyborg.
Yeah, Dr. Peter Scott Morgan, who was given until this year to live after his diagnosis, is endeavoring to replace all of his organs with machinery. He has had his voice box removed and his voice recorded and installed a catheter, a colostomy bag, and a feeding tube so that he no longer either eats or excretes. This is. Do you remember the movie Bicentennial Man?
Yes.
Robin Williams was a robot and then slowly got all of his parts replaced by sort of bioorganic parts, became a human, legally became a human, got married, et cetera, et cetera. This is kind of opposite of that.
Yeah, going the other direction there.
Yeah. He moves around. This is talking about Peter Scott Morgan, Dr. Peter Scott Morgan. He moves around in a specially designed electric wheelchair that allows him to be seated, standing upright, or laid down. Recently, he's created an avatar of his own face so that he'll be able to use a range of facial expressions as the disease progresses and he loses control of his facial muscles. In your new setup there, are you able to route audio?
I believe so, yeah. Let me try.
From a page. Yeah, open that link, play that page. This is his digital avatar he's created.
Okay, give me 1 second because the browser I'm using does not play video.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to switch browsers.
Open a new one.
Should be able to work here.
Okay, I will keep reading. You just let me know when you're ready. The scientist who lives in Torquay with his husband, Francis. Oh, The plot thickens. Yeah. Will control the avatar with artificial intelligence and resembles his own face before he was struck down by the wasting disease. There are also other machines within their home, such as a hoist and moving bed that Peter controls with the movement of his eyes. He's committed to the task too. He had a procedure recently that saw him lose his physical voice. He had a laryngectomy in exchange for potentially years more life. You see, now that he's not got a voice box, saliva can't enter his lungs and cause him to suffocate. The day before the procedure, he declared the end of Peter 1.0 and the beginning of his life as a full cyborg and Peter 2.0. Writing on his Twitter account, he announced, "This is my last post as Peter 1.0. Tomorrow, Thursday, October 10th, I trade my voice for potentially decades of life as we complete the final medical procedure for my transition to full cyborg. The month I was told statistically I would be dead. I'm not dying. I'm transforming. Oh, how I love science."
Wow. Let's let me try playing this, see if you can hear it here.
Okay.
Loading.
Chapman Hyundai.
Whoa, it's an ad. Darn it.
Here it is, the moment we've been waiting for. Drive a Hyundai. It's awesome.
Hyundai. I can't skip, it looks like. So we got another.
You're just going to mute that.
Well, it's muted now, but hopefully we can get to the actual audio. Man, this is
my gosh. This is one of the most exciting shows.
It is exciting. Yeah. Things are changing. We're progressing. We're no longer just boring people talking about articles. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is. I see the face there.
Hello, I am the future. I am the beginning of Peter 2.0. On the 10th of October 2019, Peter 1.0 will say his very last words. But by then I will be fully operational and I will come online. For decades to come, I will keep Peter's personality alive, and for all the time, I will continue to evolve, dying as a human, living as a cyborg.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's a little creepy.
This is, Well, anyways, we'll get more into. Let's talk about that more. Let me finish the article, though. Okay. Peter has used his years of top-level scientific experience to make this amazing transformation, and has called upon some cutting-edge technology and expertise to help him along the way. He told the Daily Mail, quote, "I'm about to be turned into Peter 2.0, and when I say Peter 2.0, I mean a cyborg. And when I say a cyborg." I don't just mean any old cyborg, you understand, but by far the most advanced human cybernetic organism ever created in 13.8 billion years. I'm scheduled to become the world's very first full cyborg. Okay, we get it. He continued.
He's stuck in a loop.
No. Somebody needs to uninstall, reinstall. Yeah. He continued, "Almost everything about me is going to be irreversibly changed, body and brain. It goes without saying that all my physical interaction with the world will become robotic, and naturally my existing 5 senses are going to be enhanced. But far more importantly, part of my brain and all of my external persona will soon be electronic, totally synthetic. From then on, I'll be part hardware, part wetware." I hate that term. "Part digital, part analog. And it won't stop there. I've got more upgrades in progress than Microsoft. Mine isn't just a version change." And this is the kicker. It's a metamorphosis.
Ooh,
that's right. Metamorphosis. If for those who have been keeping up on our Burning Man episodes, if you haven't done it yet, you can head to Canary Cry Radio on your podcatcher and listen to our Burning Man episodes. We've got a few up there. And this year's Burning Man theme was metamorphosis. And so we see that theme playing out in the real world, just like Burning Man people want to happen. So here we go. This metamorphosis meme making its way into, well, the world's first cyborg. As well as allowing himself to still enjoy life despite his condition, Peter and Francis have also established the Scott Morgan Foundation, which will aim to use technology to improve the lives of those, quote, restricted by age, ill health, disability, or other physical or mental disadvantage. On the Foundation's website, he added, "We are within touching distance of changing everything. I'm not dying, I'm transforming. This is terminal disease like you've never seen it before. And as far as I'm concerned, bring it on. MND, which is the I'm not sure what that is. I thought it was the Morgan Foundation. Scott Morgan? Nope. MND hasn't even begun to bring me to my knees. Oh, that's his disease. Yeah. And even long after I'm locked in, I still will be standing tall. Quote, thanks to high tech, I will talk again. I will convey emotion and personality, and I'll reach out and touch people I love. And I will not be the only one. Over time, more and more with MND, with extreme disability, with old age, with a passion simply to break free from their physical straitjacket, will choose to stand beside me. And we will all stand tall, and we will stand proud, and we will stand unbowed, and we will keep standing year after year after year after year after year, because we simply refuse to stay alive. We choose to thrive.
I'm not capable of hatred.
Quite the speech there. This guy is eloquent in his
well, he has time. His
robotic voice.
He's got his AI robot to help him construct sentences.
Yeah, that's right. I want to. Yeah, it's curious to see how long that took. But yeah, wow, this is pretty intense, man. This is the type of. I mean, that was the type of speech that if they were making a, utopian or dystopian movie about the rise of the cyborgs, that's the speech that would be the apex of the action there.
They've been making those movies for a while.
Yeah. So this is interesting. I mean, so far the list of things that he's done are not regular procedures, but certainly not super new procedures. I mean, talking about the catheter and the feeding tube and the stuff like that. I'm curious to see. I mean, if we're looking for a guy to keep an eye out for our cyborg updates, I mean, this is the guy.
Yeah, I think this is our beat. With, the
let
story.
Me grab his name again. Yeah, so we can keep Dr. Peter Morgan. Yeah, Peter Scott Morgan.
He's got the triple name.
I know, the triple name, man. That's how you know he's going places. One of these pictures is he's sitting in his wheelchair holding a Darth Vader helmet.
Darth Vader mask, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that one. Part of his inspiration. I guess Darth Vader technically was some sort of cyborg. But yeah, this is a pretty grandiose language. Talking about Peter 2.0, full cyborg, transcending, transforming, metamorphosis. He's
hitting all the points.
I had not heard of this guy, but he's quickly going to become sort of a transhumanist hero, I think.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah. Bigger. Tastier.
The thing that's really concerning, that's from a book by a technocrat, by the way, Noah Harari. But anyways, so the thing that's really interesting is this just pushes the bar out. Somebody else is going to come along and be like, well, Peter Scott Morgan may have figured out a couple things, but I'm going to become even more computer immortal or whatever it is going on.
And you know what the big thing is? I mean, think about, imagine yourself 100 years into the future.
Yeah.
Cyborgs are quite common at this point. Maybe everybody has some aspect of cyborg to them, and it'll be in the history books that it's Dr. Peter Scott Morgan, who had a very life-threatening disease, who created or who became the first cyborg, full cyborg. And, this guy's going to go through some sort of apotheosis almost. I could imagine statues of this guy. If we were making the movie about this, it would open up with a statue of Peter Scott Morgan, Dr. Peter Scott Morgan, like being the hero of modern civilization.
Like cybernetic Rosa Parks.
Right. Well, especially now you connect the fact that a lot of these diseases, a lot of our lifestyle is disease causing.
Yeah.
Just even down to the very food we eat.
Yeah.
And disease, overcoming disease being the main
vehicle or propaganda machine to get people to jump on board to the technology. That makes sense. It's the giant Hegelian dialectic taking place.
Exactly.
Make everyone sick, cure them with the technology that we provide.
turn everybody into cyborgs.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
This is a disturbing episode in so many ways.
A lot of big things in this episode.
A lot of craziness happening.
Maybe that's why we were having such technical difficulties. The gremlins didn't want us, the technocratic gremlins didn't want us to talk about this stuff. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So my timer says we're over 30 minutes.
We are over 30 minutes. We're in our 30, as far as my recording goes, we're in our 39th minute.
Ooh, which is doing it.
We're doing it. Yeah. So let's move on. And we got a couple more stories to go here. And this one is labeled one of these that I can't find. There it is.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Nice stereo mix there, finally.
Yes, very good.
SciencePageNews.com. Scientists get green light to bring back dead to life with stem cells. U.S. biotechnology company called BioQuark, sounds super sci-fi, has been given permission to recruit 20 clinically dead patients in an attempt to bring their central nervous systems back to life. They hope to eliminate patients' need to rely on machines by reanimating parts of the upper spinal cord where the lower brainstem is located to potentially energize vital body functions like breathing and heartbeats. Wow, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Trial participants will have been... Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It might explain this, but we're talking about clinically dead patients.
Clinically dead.
Means, okay.
Trial participants...
Not the same as a body underground.
Right. Trial participants have been declared certified dead and kept alive solely through life support machines. Quote, this represents the first trial of its kind and another step towards the eventual reversal of death in our lifetime, says CEO of BioQuark, Inc., Ira Pastor. I think we reported on this guy before.
Yeah, we've talked about BioQuark before.
Yeah, and this guy's name is Pastor.
I think they were involved in the pig experiment.
That's right. So they've moved on to humans. And we were talking about that. How long is that going to take?
Right.
Apparently not long.
Not long.
Not long. Not long. The team,
that was like a few months ago.
Yeah, the team who has been granted ethical permission from the Institute Review Board at the National Institute of Health in the U.S. and India to begin trials on 20 subjects is looking to recruit patients for its Reanima project as soon as possible. So, wow, they've really just skipped out. Oh, we do it to pigs.
Reanima.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I play a lot a lot of video games. Reanima project sounds like the evil corporation.
Yeah, like every game.
In a game, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've brought up Reanima before too, because we've talked about this. But anyway, the team will first complete a phase 1 trial referred to as a non-randomized proof of concept study. This will determine whether or not they are capable of reversing clinical brain death through drug administration, nerve stimulation, and laser therapy. They'll always be looking at whether they'll also be looking at whether or not they can affect any changes in the meninges of the brain, layers of tissue located between the skull and the surface of the brain. Specifically, the team will be investigating improvements in the patient's pulse, blood oxygen saturation, blood pressure, and respiration. Quote, to undertake such a complex initiative, we are combining biologic regenerative medicine tools with other existing medical devices typically used for stimulation of the central nervous system in patients with other severe disorders of consciousness, Pastor noted.
Severe disorders of consciousness.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. It sounds super new agey, actually. The researchers are hoping that if they can get patients' brains to work again, and since many clinically dead can retain certain functions like processing waste, digesting nutrients, healing wounds, and growing and maturing, people will have the chance to regain some semblance of life. But for now, the team is just trying to take it one step at a time.
That's a good way to do it, team.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I will say this, though, because I believe these companies and these people were connected to the brain dead pig experiments that were going on, I think, way earlier this year. I'm going to guess in January.
Might have been last year. It might have been last year or early this year,
Yeah. I do want to point out that it does not explicitly say humans in this article. Although it would be weird.
Well, they're recruiting patients. So
but could that be pigs, brain dead pigs still?
I guess. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know, but it's weird that that there is no language that specifically says it's humans, but also if it was humans, it would be weird to have to specifically point that out. So
that's true.
I don't know if I'm making
we
a
are
good
bringing
point.
humans back to life.
Yeah.
But we don't want to tell you, so we're just going to use our AI PR.
I think maybe you picked it out. Maybe it is specifically trying to keep the language vague, maybe for the Google spider crawlers or something, trying not to pull too much attention to the fact that they're making zombies out of clinically dead patients. But yeah, no, this is very interesting. This is like straight up out of the movie Elysium or any number of movies.
Yeah.
But taking it to the next step, now it doesn't look like they're talking. It's interesting in that one quote, to undertake such a complex initiative, we are combining biologic regenerative medicine tools with other existing medical devices typically used for stimulation of the central nervous system in patients with other severe disorders of consciousness. I'm wondering if severe disorders of consciousness means like a coma.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's the Reanima project in general, I think, has to do with trying to get people out of coma. So it seems like they're tipping the line there because, if I recall, this is just from memory, but one of the things, the reasons why they were doing it with the coma patients is because a lot of them, obviously, their lives are pretty much done anyway. So if for the betterment of science and things of that nature, if there are people that want to volunteer themselves or volunteer a loved one, they can.
Yeah. So I looked it up just so we can have use some specific terms and have some understanding here. Clinical death is the medical term for cessation of blood circulation and breathing, the two necessary criteria to sustain human and many other organisms' lives. It occurs when the heart stops beating in a regular rhythm, a condition called cardiac arrest. The term is also sometimes used in resuscitation research. Ooh. So yeah, people who are being kept alive by machines, keeping their blood going, keeping their breathing going, all with machines.
So it's like, instead of just keeping them alive, let's try to up the ante. Let's send a little shockwave down the spine and see if we can get
their
moving.
body, working on its own.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting because it's the scary part, and it's kind of the obvious one, but I'll still mention it, which is if you have somebody in a coma, they're attached to machines to keep their blood going and their breath going. If you just solve the blood flow issue and the breathing issue, which is where they're focusing with this project, it doesn't quite bring their consciousness back, or maybe it does. Right. I don't know.
Maybe, but, that's an interesting thing.
You'll have a breathing, blood circulating body, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it'll bring anybody back to consciousness. It'll just be sort of an alive, spooky. This is a good Halloween
episode.
It's a golem. Oh, it is a golem. Wow. Yeah. And it's a get even trippier. You talk about the habitation issues with now we'll just get real deep into Canary Cry material. The one of the theories of gray aliens and the abduction of cows and humans and mutilation of cows and stealing of organs to create biological robots for the inhabitation of interdimensional beings or demons or something. This would give a human form. If you can get an unconscious human form to stay alive, has some pretty spooky ramifications.
Those disembodied spirits of the Nephilim that would are considered demons, which goes right into our Nephilim update for the week. Speaking of bodies,
Nephilim update.
We started this episode with the dailystar.co.uk article, so we gotta finish. We got to land the plane with the dailystar.co.uk article.
Full circle.
Bringing you guys the truth. Google Earth uncovers giant skull poking out of Antarctica ice in bizarre clip.
Google Earth?
Yeah. An
Maybe
eagle,
I should explore this on my VR headset.
Oh, yeah, there you go. An eagle-eyed Google Earth user has bizarrely claimed to have found a giant skull in Antarctica. The clip, which was uploaded to YouTube, seemed to reveal the bizarre skull measuring 24 feet laying on top of the ice. In the video, a dark plot of mountainous ice is seen. On the lower right-hand side of the cold object, a mysterious white blur is seen. As the conspiracist zooms into the object, it begins to form into a shape of a giant skull. The conspiracist claimed the skull belonged to the Nephilim. According to Genesis 6:1-4, the Nephilim were the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men before the deluge flood. YouTube conspiracist Florida Macquise said, quote, some of these images I have spent hours and hours and hours finding. I go days without finding anything, but once in a while you come across something like this. This unmistakable shape of a giant skull just laying on the ice, and it makes it all worth it, and then I can share it with you guys.
Wow.
It makes me think of how big this individual would have been, and it goes on and on with his some of his theories.
This is what the Nephilim update is for, Gons.
I know.
This might be my favorite Nephilim update ever. I'm looking at the picture here.
Yeah.
And it's, it's reminiscent of like people looking at Mars pictures and finding pyramids and finding faces and stuff on Mars. It's probably just, a trick of the light, but I see what he's looking at. Looks like a giant skull.
The pareidolia, I think, is the phenomenon where you see faces and things.
Right.
But this one in particular, if you watch the video, and we'll leave links and everything, he zooms in pretty tight, and it's, it's kind of like, it is kind of weird. It does really look like a skull, more so than other things that I've seen, even the Mars, alleged face on Mars and stuff like that. That's, how do you know? But this one, Google Earth right there, you can zoom in pretty tight, and it's pretty, maybe it's somebody messing around and creating something, or maybe it's just coincidence, but it certainly does have a skull shape that is unusual.
Yeah, and, it's very on point for a skull shape. This might be an interesting thing to do with the Twitch channel. Get coordinates of a lot of spooky and weird things on Google Earth, and then I'll explore them via VR, and people get to watch.
That's a really good idea.
That is a good idea. Okay. I'm putting that on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got to get our gear working. We can't even get a podcast out. We can barely get podcasts out, and we've been promising Twitch for a year, but it's because the video element is.
Pray for us.
Yes, pray for us. But we're pretty much. Well, actually, we're about 51 minutes.
Yeah.
So
that's okay. No, this is good. We'll start landing the plane here, and just as a reminder to everybody, we have extended reports. We're almost at 100 extended reports on the Patreon page.
I think this next one would be 100. If we get to it today, it would be 100. If not, then
we won't.
Certainly next week.
We're almost to 100 extended reports. I mean, Gons, when you start putting the numbers of stuff that we've done over the years, it's pretty incredible. But there you go. So if you want access to 100, almost 100 extended reports, that's double. Well, not double, but that is 100 more episodes of Canary Cry News Talk. You can head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Canary Cry News Talk.
CCNT.
CCNT. That's right. So patreon.com/CCNT. That's patreon.com/CCNT. You can sign up, get access to all of that bonus material, hours and hours and hours and hours of extra stuff to listen to, and you'll be helping keeping the show going. We're not going to go too deep into it now, but Gons and I are coming up. We're both, we need to get our act together. Let's just say that we need to get our act together, and Patreon is going to help us do that and keep this show going, keep the cats fed, keep the kids fed on Gons' side there, and that we would very much appreciate that. And there's all sorts of fun stuff. And Patreon has added some merch options. So we're going to be putting together some merch. So if you want some physical things like mugs and stickers and posters and all sorts of stuff like that, keep an eye on that Patreon page because all sorts of fun stuff going on there. Now, hey, here's the thing. Y'all have friends. I know you do. You're nice. You're great people. You have friends. And if those friends are still getting their news from not just the mainstream sources, but, anywhere that is not Canary Cry News Talk, they need to get in on the train. Go ahead, grab them by the cage and shake it.
Stop this progress before it is too late.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone.
Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Space Pope Reptilian.
That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. And sorry we're a little rusty here. It's been a tough couple of weeks, but we're getting back on the train. And so there you go. Let your friends know. Send them an episode. Text it to them. Post it on your Facebook. Do something to let people know that this is where they need to be. And on top of that, if you are looking for a way to support the show, that's a great way to do it, sharing episodes. But also, if you head to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to this show, I think we're on Spotify now too. Make sure to leave a rating and a review. When you leave ratings and reviews, it goes a long way to telling all those algorithms and robots to share the show with other people, let people know about it. And that's a great way, an easy way to support the show. And it really goes a long way. It's hard to explain exactly how helpful that is. But I'm telling you, I will consider it a personal favor to your good buddy Basil if you leave a rating and a review this week. And we hope you liked this hour-long episode. We've been tossing around the idea of doing hour-long episodes. I don't know if we're going to jump into doing all of them hour-long at this exact moment, but if you guys like it this way, you got to let us know. And one great way to let us know is by going to patreon.com/CCNT. That's patreon.com/CCNT. Okay, anything else, Gons? Have I forgotten anything?
I don't think so. Facebook community and...
yeah. The Facebook community keeps growing. Lots of great stuff in there. People caring for each other, people sharing prayer requests and sharing stuff about their lives. Also memes, also conspiracy theories. It's a great, wonderful place. A place like Facebook, which is so often so toxic. I'm actually very proud of our moderators and our admins over at the Canary Cry community. It is a friendly, welcoming place for listeners just like you. And so I recommend everybody go to Facebook, join the Canary Cry community, and get hooked up to people who are they're friends. They're waiting to be met.
And family of the Canary Cry world.
Family. That's right. So make sure to do that. And again, thanks to Charlie for posting the Flippy update and people dropping news articles in there that they want to hear on the show. Okay. I think that's it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. Mine is really ridiculous. So why don't you go and then
I was just going to say we're also working on doing a Canary Cry community that is off Facebook. Will be its own standalone thing.
Right.
So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Okay. And do you know Howie Mandel?
I do.
You know of him?
Yeah.
He has some advice for all the people. You get enough Basil, but if you want more Gons,
everybody should have a Gonzo in their life.
It's true. This is why you should tell all your friends to listen to
My
Canary Cry
name
News
is
Talk.
Gonzo, and I love a tambourine. That's right. Go check out Gonzo the Tambourine Man. Okay, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next week. But until then, think outside the cage.